It's not going to be the same type of outing that they faced against the Dallas Cowboys or the Washington football team or the Cincinnati Bengals. You're looking at a team that's stout on defense, led by Darius Leonard and Xavier Rhodes. And when you have a linebacker and a corner, usually on any defense that's Pro Bowl caliber players, then it's definitely going to be harder for you to go down the field. But I think for the Cleveland Browns, it's all about utilizing Odell Beckham and making him the focal point of the game. Him and Kareem Hunt are going to be the difference makers in the game. It's not going to be as easy as it was the last 3 weeks, but it's certainly going to be a test for the Cleveland Browns. This is why I love football. This is why, I wake up on Sundays and I'm excited because I get to watch these young guys go head to head at some of the greatest times, in their career. So, it's fortunate for us that we have a chance to watch the Cleveland Browns develop. This is certainly going to be a test for them. And I don't know if it's going to be difficult for them to move the ball against this team. We'll have to see.
Yeah, Jenna, come back down to earth. That's a bit much. I think that, they'll have a great outing. You got to think about last week. Let's go back. They put up 40 points against the Dallas Cowboys, and we just talked about it. We know how terrible this defense is, and obviously they're not giving any effort when you look at what Xavier said. But they had 40 points, and Baker Mayfield only threw for 165 yards. So why does that matter this week against the number one defense? Because they have two of their dog linebackers that could possibly not be playing. You got Darius Leonard, who you just mentioned, Mike, who's dealing with a growing injury. So he's going to be slow if he even plays. And then you have Bobby O, the other young linebacker, who's having thumb surgery. So when you think about what Cleveland Browns and what they do best and what their identity is, it's running the football. It's running the football, establishing a run, committing to the run, sticking to it, and then doing everything off of play action. So with those two guys out, I think they're still going to be able to have a great outing on the offensive side. Now, defensively, they still got to clean up some things at the linebacker position in the secondary. But this should be a really good game for the Cleveland Browns and this run offense.
So, a couple things there. And I know you know this, Brandon, for the audience. While Kareem Hunt, they expect him to play. Nick Chubb obviously isn't going to play, so that's part of that rushing attack. Now, if Darius Leonard doesn't play, that does change the analysis greatly. He was an all-pro caliber defensive player the moment he stepped into the league after being a second-round pick out of a small school. He's been an unbelievable draft pick by them, and he's been great every step of his career. But I don't think we yet know if he's going to play. And he has been the centerpiece of what has quietly been not just the best defense in football, but through 4 weeks, this defense is pacing to be an all-time defense. We have never had a higher scoring opening quarter of a season than the one we just had, and the Colts are allowing 14 points per game. They're allowing fewer than 250 total yards of offense a game. That is impossible in the 1980s, much less in 2020 in this era of unprecedented offensive explosion. But that is why, Mike, and I'll kick it back to you, why I think what you said and what Brandon has been talking about with the Browns for the last few weeks is so key. The way to break things open against Indy is to get the ball in your best playmaker's hands in Odell Beckham. I think we spent a little too much time talking about how bad the Cowboys' defense was and not enough time about how unbelievable that final touchdown by Beckham was. This play's fine. The Jarvis Landry touchdown, it's a trick play, so be it. But at the end of the game, the Odell Beckham reverse, Next Gen Stats said he had a 1% chance of scoring. If he gets tackled in the backfield, I think the Browns lose the game. Not only does he not get tackled in the backfield, the whole team's chasing him, and he ends up scoring a touchdown. So I think finding ways like Brandon's been harping on, Mike, smoke screens, quick slants, to just get the ball in his hands and see if he can make things work, Jenna.
But, Mike, let me just jump in here real quick. The other thing Brandon said that I think was really important this week is it shouldn't be so hard to get the ball to your best player. You shouldn't have to orchestrate trick plays. He shouldn't be running from the backfield. He shouldn't be juking and dodging. He's your best player. And you got number 1 overall draft pick in Baker Mayfield. You got to find ways to get Baker Mayfield to get Odell open that that don't revolve around all this trickery and scheme plays. Why is that so difficult for this Browns team?
I think they ran that trick play last week just to keep the Colts off balance. They know the Colts are going to be watching film, and it's just one more thing to look for. But in terms of what Brandon said, as far as the offense and making sure that the offense is clicking on all cylinders, establish the run. Kareem Hunt is one of the best runners in football, I will say. He's hard to tackle. His yards after contact is amazing. Has always been that way. He's a guy, he gets better as the game goes on. So if you feed Kareem Hunt and then you find ways to get the ball to Odell, like, hitches and slants, just put the ball in his hands and get him into a rhythm, get him into the floor of the game, and make the Indianapolis Colts pay attention to Odell. Then it'll start to open up things for Landry and other guys within the offense. So this scheme has to be really on point this game, and they're going to have to do things right and obviously limit turnovers and stay ahead of the chains.
So, Mike, when we were in commercial break, I was talking about how good Jarvis Landry's arm was, and we saw a lot of creativity from the Browns. And you said, I want Baker throwing that. And then after the Cowboys game, Brandon was like, yeah, Odell's trick play was great, but I don't like it. I want to do more stuff more conventional. And it feels like there's a word for people that don't like fun. We're like, let them loose. Like, don't be like, you guys are like bumps on the log. Like, just give the ball to Kareem Hunt. I don't want Jarvis Landry throwing it. And Brandon wants Odell just doing these boring bubble screens for literally 2 yards. Just like, why don't you guys
we're trying to win the game.
You know you can't.
Hey, Wiles.
Because
go ahead.
Go ahead. You're just keeping it traditional. We done played in too many games, too much experience. We know what it takes to win.
Sanctity of the game, Wilds. Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, be sure to check out more of the best clips from First Things First, or go watch a few segments from our other shows on FS1.